And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And you know what? We're getting kind of a late start today. And I'm not even sure I can tell you why we're getting a late start, other than when we were getting ready to go on the air about a minute and 15 seconds before we were going on the air, I wound up getting a message from Microsoft saying they were giving me some updates, and they restarted my computer and didn't give me a choice about what the heck was going on here. So I'm not real happy about any of that, but that's just the way it goes. In any event, we're going to have a great show for you today. It's a special show for you today. We're going to be talking about what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and then we'll be doing our news segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. But boy, you know about a special show coming up right after the IRS loses will be John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and Sean Lefebvre, and I will be all talking about conservative politics and the election for between, I guess, 3:30 and 4 o'clock this afternoon. And then on our and that's a semi-weekly broadcast that we generally do a simulcast with John. And then, but we're all going to be together. And then after that, Sean Lefebvre and I will be talking about healthcare on the Geared for Wellness program. So you don't want to miss any of that stuff. We've got a great show for you. Right now, though, I want to talk to you about at 3:11 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 65 degrees, and that'll be kind of good news. So we'll see what's going on with all of that stuff today. So you know what? That's going to be good stuff today. That's all I can say. Then, you know what? Let's talk about the news. These are the 10 things that you need to know that are going on today. We've abbreviated them, and then we'll get into a little more in-depth stuff. We're going to just skip past our first bank of commercials and just go right on through the show here. And these are the 10 things that you need to know for Tuesday. Your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that are going to be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow and the next day for that matter. Clinton and Trump dash to the finish line. The candidates blitz through battleground states in a final bid to energize supporters, a frenzied end to a bitter election year. And what could be good news for Democrats? Well, a record number of Americans have voted ahead of. Whoa, what the heck is that? You know what? This computer wants to do its own thing here today. Anyway, a record number of Americans have voted ahead of the election day, driven by soaring turnout from Latinos who often lean Democratic. And the gruesome discovery near Mosul, Iraqi troops advancing on the city held by the Islamic State group find a mass grave containing some 100 decapitated bodies. And another corpse found in South Carolina. Investigators discover a third body on the property of the owner of the real estate firm who has been linked to 7 deaths, and how Daniel Ortega is cementing family control of Nicaragua. The president's overwhelming re-election to a third consecutive term also officially places his wife as vice president. That's kind of convenient. And stocks halt 9-day losing streak after a period of sluggishness. The U.S. stock market posts its biggest gain in 8 months, with the Dow up more than 370 points. Well, a study offers reassuring evidence on anesthesia. Anesthesia during early childhood surgery poses little risk for intelligence and academics later on. The largest study of its kind suggests that. And TV anchors going head-to-head as the election nears. ABC's David Muir and NBC's Lester Holt are in the midst of a spirited competition for first place in the evening news ratings. And Ice Bucket Challenge eclipsed. The latest viral phenomenon, it's people standing still as part of the Mannequin Challenge. That's different than the Ice Bucket Challenge. And finally, which NFL team is in unfamiliar spot? Well, after knocking off the Super Bowl champion Denver in an AFC West showdown, the Oakland Raiders head into their bye week in an unusual place. Yeah, first place. Go figure. Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about some in-depth stuff. Finally, it's Clinton or Trump. The long race ends, and voters are going to have to make a choice here. America's ugly and unpredictable presidential election entered its final hours today, with voters flocking to polls to choose between Democrat Hillary Clinton, hoping to become the first woman to serve as commander-in-chief, and Republican Donald Trump, the billionaire businessman who tapped into a searing strain of economic populism. Clinton appeared to have multiple paths to triumph, while Trump needed to prevail in most of the battleground states to secure an upset. Control of the Senate was also at stake, with the Democrats needing to net 4 seats if Clinton wins the White House. The 45th president will inherit an anxious nation, deeply divided by economic and educational opportunities, race and culture. The economy has rebounded from the depths of recession, though many Americans have yet to benefit. New terror threats from home and abroad have raised security fears. Clinton asked voters to keep the White House in Democratic hands for a third straight term. She cast herself as heir to President Barack Obama's legacy and pledged to make good on his unfinished agenda, including passing immigration legislation, tightening restrictions on guns, and tweaking his signature health care law. Well, I know how much responsibility goes with this, Clinton said after voting Tuesday at her local polling station in Chappaqua, I guess it is, New York, with her husband, former President Bill Clinton, at her side. So many people are counting on the outcome of this election, what it means for our country, and I will do the very best that I can if I'm fortunate enough to win today. Well, Trump, the New York real estate developer who lives in a gold-plated Manhattan penthouse, forged a striking connection with white working-class Americans who feel left behind in the changing economy and diversifying country. He cast immigration, both from Latin America and the Middle East, as the root of the many problems plaguing the nation, and called for building a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. I see so many hopes and so many dreams out there that didn't happen, that could have happened with leadership, with proper leadership, he said, by telephone on Fox News before casting his own ballot in Manhattan, and people are hurt so badly. You know what? We are going to be hearing about this, but I do think we're probably going to hear something definitive on who our next president is going to be sometime around 8 o'clock this evening, California time. The polls are going to be closing, let's see, they're at about an hour on the East Coast, about 45 minutes or so. It's about 6:15 there now. And I think that they close at 7 o'clock on the East, or they start closing then, and you'll start seeing some stuff trickling in. We'll see what happens and what's going on. You know what? But basically, I have a feeling this show will be over. But I can tell you that when we're done with our segment of the IRS Loses, we're going to be doing a simulcast, and we're going to have our own Sean LaFave here. We'll have John Matthews. We're going to have Joe Hakos. It'll be me. We're going to be broadcasting from all over the country, and we're going to be talking about the election and our feelings about what's going on there, and we'll see how that goes. It should be really exciting. We normally do our simulcast on Mondays and Fridays, but you know what? Today's a special day, and we're going to keep it that way. Well, here's the latest developments in the U.S. elections, the latest on Election Day 2016. You know what? Guests are beginning to gather at Donald Trump's election night party in Midtown Manhattan. The GOP nominee is holding his event in the grand ballroom of a Midtown hotel, Hilton Hotel, where a stage has been decorated with dozens of American and state flags. Trump's campaign has also set up a museum-style glass displays around the venue, holding campaign merchandise, including his iconic Make America Great Again hats and pins. Well, more than half of Americans who went to the polls earlier today say the Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton has the temperament to serve as president. About a third of those voters say that the same thing about Republican nominee Donald Trump. But neither candidate can claim a mandate as the hottest candidate, according to the preliminary results of exit polling conducted by Edison Research for the Associated Press and television networks. About 6 out of 10 voters say they don't view Clinton as honest. About the same proportion say Trump isn't honest. About 3 out of 10 voters say they believe neither candidate is honest. As for what percentage of the voters think both nominees are honest, that number is in single digits. You can bet on that. Well, you know what? It seems like a fast news day for us, and it really is, but we're going to move along. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the IRS loses. So don't go away. We got a great show for you today. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 63 degrees. But you know what? If you're listening to us in our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 61 degrees and it is clear. And it's about 37 minutes from the close of the polls there. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, Illinois, it's 54 degrees and mostly cloudy. And you got about an hour and 54 minutes, or 57 minutes before those polls close. And then you know what? Coming up in our next segment, we're going to be talking to John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and Sean LaFave. We'll be talking about the election and what's going on and the things that are happening. But right now, I want to talk to you about something to put a smile on your face. Let's talk about the IRS loses. In this first case, a farmer's profit motive makes losses deductible. You know, Benny Mullins was a successful business owner who grew up on a farm and wanted to return to owning one. He bought a cattle farm and, after semi-retiring, lived and worked on it. The farm incurred steady losses. The IRS said that these losses showed that it was not being run for a profit, but to shelter income that Mullins still received from his business, and disallowed his loss deductions. So he went to court. This is what the judge said. Mullins worked 50 hours a week on that farm, moved to a primitive home located on it to be there to work, consulted with experts, and repeatedly changed farming strategies to improve profitability. All this indicated that he did have a profit motive, so his losses were absolutely deductible. Shame on the IRS. They're going to try and tell you what you're thinking. How about this? The IRS loses. President in name only is not liable for a company's unpaid taxes. So here's the thing. Ellen Marino was a president of a leading company founded by her son. I said leading company, but I meant to say lending company, founded by her son. But the business was run by her live-in companion, who was ineligible under state law to be an officer of the company because of his past credit problems. Any tasks that Ellen performed for the company, she did under his direction. When the company fell behind on its payroll taxes, the IRS contacted her, and she informed her companion. Well, eventually, the IRS assessed $76,000 in personal liability against her for the unpaid taxes. She went to court to get some justice. This is what the judge said. Marino had no real authority over the company's finances, so she's not responsible nor liable for those taxes. You got to love it. The IRS doesn't care about fair. They don't care about equitable. They care about, what can they get it from you? Here's another case the IRS lost. They cannot seize winnings that one player wins for another player. Here's the story. Robert Whitlatch devised a system for winning video lottery jackpots. Now, it required playing the same machine for many, many hours, so he hired Paul Kovach to play a machine for him and gave Kovach all the funds to be wagered. When Kovach hit a jackpot, Whitlatch claimed it, but both the casino and the IRS said it was payable to Kovach, the actual player. The IRS then tried to take the entire jackpot to settle Kovach's back tax debts. He went to court. This is what the judge said. Neither the state gaming law nor the casino's published rules barred one person from playing for another. So the winnings are Whitlatch's, who also collects interest from the IRS for his delay in collecting those. Now, that's exactly what you would expect to have happen. That's the right thing to have happened in a case like this. It's just another case where the IRS continues to want to spread its wings, Well, here's the deal. We talk about wanting to be a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. That's where we're at right now with the segment we call Inside the IRS, very much like the Twilight Zone. Yeah, now these are not tax court cases, and so they're not precedent setting. But these are things that the IRS is doing and things that they're getting involved in that you should know about, the determinations they're making. This first case up here that we're talking about is that the IRS and employees who get tips, and this is kind of an important thing when you're thinking about it. Here's the deal. The IRS has always played catch-up in enforcing the laws on reporting tips. Employers are reluctant to alienate employees by enforcing the IRS's stringent record-keeping rules, and tipped employees who work primarily in restaurants now feel immune to the rules when they receive cash tips. It's somewhat harder to avoid reporting credit card tips. Under existing law, the IRS is allowed to estimate the amount of unreported Let's get that. They're allowed to estimate the unreported tips income received by the restaurant's employees and make the employer pay the FICA tax. That's the Social Security Medicare tax on this estimated amount. Now, the potential new protection for employers is this. It's in House Bill 2034, and it was introduced in 2003, and it would make an employer liable for FICA tax on unreported tips only after the IRS establishes the amount of tip income received by an employee. Now, the IRS can protect tip income based on a restaurant's gross receipts. Seems wrong to me. They can project it even though they don't know what it is. It just doesn't seem like the right thing all the way around. Well, let me finish off with this one. How the IRS proves that you committed a tax fraud. You know, simply not reporting all of your income is generally not enough to prove that you committed a crime, even if the amount of money you didn't report was substantial. The government has to prove that you willfully evaded the payment of tax. And what the IRS looks for? Well, extensive use of cash, obtaining assets, using third parties, making false statements to IRS agents during an investigation. So many taxpayers who've committed tax fraud also make self-incriminating admissions when being interviewed by IRS special agents. For instance, they may say, hey, I know I should have reported the correct amount of income on my tax return, but I had no money when it was time to file my return. Well, don't try to use that excuse, because that's just going to get you a new set of bracelets, and you don't want that to happen. Now, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean LaFave, and then just shortly after we come back to Sean, we're going to be picking up John Matthews and Joe Hakos. Joe's in Miami, John's in Los Angeles, and we're going to be talking about the election. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the basement of his strategic planning room located at his political hideaway in Los Angeles County, the dedicated man who stands and serves the political conscience of our nation, Mr. John Matthews.
Well, I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 63 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network in Paris, France, it's 41 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're listening to us in Rome, Italy, it's 48 degrees and partly cloudy. Yeah, but I'll tell you what, there's no clouds over the head of my good old buddy, Sean Lefebvre. Hey, Sean, you out there?
I'm out here.
Okay, well, we're about 30 seconds or so from picking up our simulcast with John Matthews and Joe Hakos, and as soon as they come on, if you're talking, unfortunately, I'll have to interrupt you, but we'll get this whole thing going. I think it's going to be an interesting first half hour.
You've never interrupted me before, so that'll be something new to experience.
Well, I don't interrupt you because you don't take a breath and I can't get a word in.
Well, maybe the three of you together could actually make that happen.
Yeah, well, you know what? Try to get a word in when John's talking. That's a miracle.
Oh my gosh! I expect to be more of a spectator for the next half hour. But it'll be fun.
Oh, we're all going to contribute. He'll be calling in here any second. You know, he always tells me what time he's going to call, and he always calls in about 40 seconds later than that. So I don't know what the what the deal is. I do know we're not taking any commercial breaks until 4 o'clock, so we'll see what's happened. We got started about 8 minutes late today. For some reason, I was a minute and 45 seconds, or a minute and 15 seconds, I guess, from starting the show, and Microsoft decided that they wanted to update the entire system. Again? Yeah.
This is the second time this has happened.
Oh, I'm telling you, just drive me nuts. I'm just so ticked off that happened, and luckily I wasn't on the air, so nobody could hear the expletives that I was using. So I don't understand what's going on with John. John is taking his sweet time calling in here.
That's all right. We don't need him. We can make up lies just as easily as he can.
You know what? And probably better ones, Sean.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, probably better ones. I'll tell you what. Did you go out and vote this morning?
I did. You know what? And I learned a lesson. So if there's anyone listening who hasn't voted yet,
here we go.
Oh, see, I knew it. I'm casting right now.
And we're with John Matthews and Joe Hakos. We also have Sean Lefebvre on the air.
All right, how you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. I'm just like the Tiger, Tony the Tiger.
Okay, if you can do me a favor, can you crank your volume up just a little bit?
How's that?
There we go. That sounds a lot better.
All right. Yeah, we got you.
Talking with you. I know we're talking with you via cell phone. So let me start off by asking you: have you made it to the polls yet?
I went to the polls last week. I voted from the comfort of the couch in my living room.
All right, so you did online?
No, I didn't. No. I didn't know you could vote online. I have an absentee ballot. I've had it for years and years and years, and it's just the easiest way to vote. Once Marlene and I make up our minds of what we're going to do, we fill in the ballot, we put it in the envelope, sign it, and throw it in the mail. We're all done.
That's what I should have done, and I didn't. We do the same thing over here, but we have been voting absentee ballot for probably the last 4 or 5 years, and the only reason we do it is because sometimes in November we're out of the country, and so we want to make sure we get our vote in. But if I'm here, like I was this time, I actually take the ballot in and hand it in. I actually go down to the polling place. It's just it may be a technicality, but it's just the way I look at things. I'm here. I'm one of these people that believe that we really shouldn't have early voting. So it's kind of like, okay, you need to show up. You need to go down there and punch the holes.
Hey, to each his own. I'm very comfortable. There's no way I would miss the election. It just makes it really easy. And, you hear all this controversy about people that can't get to the polls or they're not going to vote for one reason or another. And you know what? They've made it so convenient and so easy. I just don't understand those lame excuses at all.
Well, my issue is the fact that, given the fact that what we've been hearing here over the last couple of weeks, with absentee ballots and early voting ballots being manipulated and moved into secret rooms and re-enveloped and all this other kind of stuff that's going on, especially down in Florida right now. And we just had reports today. Joe was reporting our first segment here that in Pennsylvania, but they had the same problem in Pennsylvania they had in Texas during early voting last week. The people who are straight Republican ticket, their votes are changing as they punch the ticket. They're going in and saying, okay, I want to vote straight Republican, and they're finding their votes changing to Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump.
Did that come in this morning? Did that just come in this morning, John?
Yeah, it was in Pennsylvania. It was just reported about an hour ago. And we had the same issue down in Texas. People were complaining that, hey, I'm voting. In fact, there was 2 complaints coming out of Texas last week. One was they're voting straight Republican ticket, and they noticed that the Trump is changing over to Hillary Clinton. Some of the other women, there were actually a couple women were on Rush Limbaugh that called in to Rush Limbaugh's show and stated that when they went to review the ballot after they voted, Donald Trump's name was completely gone from the ballot.
So what happens when you complain about that?
Well, what they've both done, they did in Texas, and they said they did in Pennsylvania, is they went in and recalibrated the machines.
Oh, okay. So what happened to all the people that voted before they noticed?
Well, that's their complaint. We don't know if our vote got counted. Did you recalibrate it in a way that corrected our vote, or are those votes lost?
Well, the interesting thing is, we've got Sean LaFave on the air with us right now, and his polling place is at Fantasyland at Disneyland in Anaheim.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much how it feels right now.
Yeah, how appropriate.
I went in. I've never done absentee ballot. I've never done mail-in ballot ever. I've always gone to the polls. I've always voted at the polls. And so they sent me, and I did not request this, so I don't know what to do with the thing when I got it. But I got the mail-in ballot. It came in the mail, I don't know, it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I thought, oh, this is nice. But you know what? I'm going to be here, so I'm not going to mail this in, right? Well, I showed up at the polls today to vote, and they said, oh, you were mailed. They sent you a mail-in ballot. And I said, yeah. And I just kind of assumed that it was an option that you were given. Everyone was given. And they said, well, if you have that, if you don't have it with you, then you're going to have to do a provisional vote. And I go, provisional? I go, what is that? I go, does that mean, they started to explain to me, I said, I know what provisional is. I go, does that mean my vote is not going to count today? It's going to take a few days? And they said, yeah, that's exactly what it means. And I thought, I was so pissed that, I'm not allowed to say that word on the air, but I was upset that they sent this to me. I did not request it. And, and it's something I'm not familiar with because I've never used it. And so now my vote is not going to count today. And I'm just, I don't know, I'm just beside myself with the whole election process to start with. I believe it's rigged. As you were talking about the whole thing being down in Texas.
Well, Sean, did they offer Sean, take a breath. Hey, did they offer you the option of going home, getting your ballot, coming back, and trading it in for a live ballot?
Well, they didn't, but I could have done that. Surely I could have walked out, and they didn't actually vocalize that, but I knew it was an option. However, here's my problem with that: the one day of the entire probably 20 years that this place has been around, they decided today they need to waterproof the walkway in front of my apartment building, and so I can't get into my apartment until this evening. So I'm actually sitting outside in my car to do the show today. But yeah, I can't even get into my apartment. So I thought, you know what? I'm not going to, I don't know how long in case there's a mistake. I thought, I'll just do the provisional voting and not worry about, if I can get home and get and bring it in. But it's just upsetting. Like, why did they ship that to me when I never asked for it?
Well, not only that, but how many other places in the country did that happen? Joe, do you do an absentee ballot, or do you actually go down to the polls?
Oh, Joe's not with us. He's heading down to an election gathering. He was with us the first part of the show, but he's got to travel, so he's trying to get down there. But now, Joe, he did absentee ballot. He said he's already voted, already put it in there. But Sean's situation is something I think you really need to report this to officials if you did not request a ballot, because what's happened here, I can tell you what's happened. What's happened is, since we have now allowed people, or because Jerry Brown mandated he's mandated that the people who go down and get a driver's license are automatically enrolled. They're automatically enrolled to vote unless they opt out. Okay, so what happens is you'll get a notification from the state that you've been enrolled or you've been registered to vote, and then they'll ask you what party affiliation you want. And so what it tells me is somebody's decided, let's just send everybody a ballot. And because that's one of the big issues we're talking about here. We're talking earlier about down in Broward County, what's going on down in Broward County, down in Florida.
Tell that story, John, because I don't think Sean heard that story, and it's worth telling again.
Well, it sounds very similar to what Sean is experiencing right now. What happened down in Broward County was they sent out their absentee and their voter registration, their early votes. They sent it out with a voter guide. And one of the issues on their ballot in Florida, I believe, has to do with the legalization of marijuana, just like out here in California. That's one of the issues that we're voting on this time around. And so what happened was when people got the voters' guides, the page on the marijuana issue was blank. You had to say it was either a misprint or it was left out or whatever. So people started calling up and saying, hey, my voter guide is not what it's supposed to be. Apparently we got a lot of potheads down in Florida. So they're down there, and what the election people down there, this is in Broward County, Brenda Snipes, who is a Democrat operative, very close ties with Hillary Clinton, and she said, okay, well, we'll send everybody new voter guides. But in doing so, they also sent another ballot. So people were receiving double ballots. And so the implication is you're going to let people vote twice. They're going to get their hands on two ballots. She says, no, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Okay. What we find out is that there is a massive number, in the thousands, absentee voter ballots that are being taken into the Broward County election headquarters and being punched and then being submitted as an absentee ballot. And so what we've been able to conclude is some people got duplicate ballots, some people didn't. And the ones that didn't, they took those ballots and they actually created the ballots that they wanted. And this is the GOP people down there are already saying as of tomorrow they're going to be suing. So there's already a lawsuit. The election isn't even over, and they're going to be suing because what they're saying is they have a signed affidavit from one of the poll workers over there that said she saw these people going through stacks of ballots and punching them. And Brenda Snipes was asked about it. She said, oh, what we were doing was we were replacing damaged ballots. She's saying, no, these are thousands. They were in stacks.
Hey, so John,
and they were...
John, let me ask you this. So let's we need to make the reasonable assumption that this same thing is happening all over the country. If it turns out that that's exactly what's going on, then what happens? Do they set up a new election date? Do they void all of the absentee ballots? What do they actually wind up? And matter of fact, even if you go to the polling place, if the machines are not registering the votes the way you're doing it, what the heck is going to happen here?
Well, I think in the case, we have to go back to the 2000 election. Remember the Chads, the hanging Chads?
Yeah.
Okay, which just happened to be in Dade County and Broward County. That's why I bring them up. Mm-hmm. So what has to happen is wherever possible, they have to go in and in the case of paper ballots, they have to actually go in and look. And so what they would be looking, if people are saying, hey, look, I voted a straight Republican ticket and they changed my vote from Donald Trump to Hillary Clinton, they would have to go through each of these ballots and find ballots that have a straight ticket voted and Hillary Clinton instead of Donald Trump. And they'd have to say, okay, these are contested ballots. This is why we've been hearing over the last couple of weeks on the media, the big issue with Donald Trump is what? Will he concede the election without contesting anything? That's what it is. Every news program, the left has been beating this with like a dead horse. They had Kellyanne Conway on the other day, the campaign manager for the Trump campaign. Mm-hmm. And the first question out of their mouth and the last question out of their mouth was, if Donald Trump loses, will he concede without contesting? Because they know this voter fraud is going on. And if Donald Trump it does that, if he concedes, if we look at some of these counties in Pennsylvania, in Florida, in Texas, Arizona's complaining about it. Indiana, they found 187,000 names and birth dates changed on online voting registration in a matter of a month. And if he doesn't go, if these results come out and they show Hillary Clinton in a landslide when everybody, all the pollsters are saying Trump should win Florida by 8 points and he loses, and if Trump sits there, you think Trump is going to go, okay, well, I just give up. I concede. He's not going to do that.
No, hell no, and he shouldn't. And he shouldn't do that. But here's the thing: let's assume that it is rigged. Let's assume that they get caught. Let's assume that everything is just really, really messed up and inaccurate. Then what happens? What happens to the presidency? Do they have another election? Does the House pick a candidate? What the heck's going to happen here?
Well, it's what happened between Hillary and Bernie Sanders. It's exactly nothing is going to happen, and that would be my stance. I can't imagine they would do anything about it. They didn't last time. Why would they do it now?
If things follow suit, we'll give it over to James Comey to tell us that there's no intent.
No, exactly. That's exactly right.
Trump has already sued Nevada. He sued Nevada today, because they kept their polls open over the weekend past the hours they were supposed to be open.
Well, no, that's not accurate, though, John. What they did, the way the law reads is if you're in line before the polls close, and the polls are still open in Nevada, but if you're in that happened to be an early voting thing, the thing is that if you're in line before the polls close, the law allows you to stay in line, and they have to take your vote no matter how long it takes. Now, the problem is we don't know how many people came in subsequent to that. They should have put somebody standing at the end of that line at the actual time that the polls were closing to keep any further people from joining the line. I don't know that happened.
Yeah, well, let me give you a good analogy here as to probably, we can speculate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is suing because he's saying they kept the polls open. Now, I don't know the details of it. I just read the headline.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. You remember back in the 70s when we had the gas crisis here in California?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. I was fresh out of the military, and I managed a gas station during that time, all right? And we got to the point where we had to shut the pumps off at 12 o'clock every day. Okay, because that people would line up at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd pump. They were only allowed 15 gallons. We had the odd and even, everything else like that. And at 12 o'clock, we had to shut everything off. We had to do it.
Right.
That was just the way it was, because if we did, we wouldn't have had any gas for anybody the next day, because the gas deliveries were all messed up. Right. So, okay, now just kind of guess what it's like to walk out to the last car and put a sign out there that says last car, and everybody behind it has been sitting there for hours waiting to get in. Just imagine what happens.
Oh, yeah, riot.
Okay, I had 3 different occasions I had guns pulled on me.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so you're going to go to voters in Nevada or any place else, and people are still coming into the line, and you're going to tell them, I'm sorry, this is the last line, this is the last person?
Well, no, I understand, and I understand the analogy that you're drawing here, and I understand the difficulty of doing all those things. And what I was quoting was what I know the law to be with regard to voting, and whether or not that took place, John, that I don't know, and whether or not
Like I did preface my remarks by we can only speculate what's going on, but I do know Trump has sued Nevada for allowing the polls to stay open past hours. Now, I don't know the details of that. I just saw it before we came on the air, so I didn't have time to look at it. So, but the point being is we've got the GOP out in Florida already saying if Brenda Snipes down there in Broward County does not own up to the fact that they were manipulating ballots, then tomorrow morning we file a lawsuit. She has not done that, so I imagine tomorrow morning there's going to be a lawsuit.
And there should, and he should. I mean, the truth is that this is, you know what? Of all the things that could happen, How on earth could in this country we have such a cluster so-and-so that we don't have honest people with integrity at the polls making sure that everything is the way it should be? How on earth can we allow this to happen in this country?
Well, you should know the answer to that, Bob. Yeah. We have a complicit electorate.
Yeah.
We have people that don't give a damn about what's going on. We have people that have taken for granted that the people that we elect are people of honesty and integrity. And what's happened over the last 50, 60 years by the progressives, I equate them to terrorist cells. They do their work. They move an inch at a time. They wait. They know their time is coming. The progressives have been doing this for 50, 60 years, inch by inch, step by step, for the day when they could actually just come out and go balls to the wall and do what they're doing right now. Barack Obama was the point man, the man that they selected in 2008 says, this is a guy that we're going to go balls to the wall with. And that's what they've been doing. And the public has been caught off guard, especially the Republican Party. And I don't know if that's by choice, by design, or just, the fact that the Republicans, we're people of integrity, so we just think everybody else is,
Yeah.
And we don't, let me give you this analogy. Let me give you this comparison. My name has been put in nomination to become the president of the head of the Conservative Party USA. Mm. And I was the people that were vetting me talked to me the other day, and we got into this discussion about the endorsement list of the candidates that they're endorsing in this election, the Conservative Party USA. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, I said, what is Darrell Issa doing on this endorsement list? And he said, well, the vetting committee put him there. I said, well, then they didn't vet the guy because this guy is more conservative than Mitch McConnell's a conservative. And I said, you know what you did? You guys went to the conservative review. You looked at the voting record and you said, oh, he's got a 75, 80% voting record. He must be a conservative. That's a bunch of bunk because these guys don't vote as conservatives when it means passing conservative legislation. They vote when it doesn't really matter. Mitch McConnell doesn't even vote half the time because he wants to be able to use the excuse, I want to bring it back to the floor. I don't want to vote because once I vote, I can't bring it back to the floor. Okay, so he doesn't vote. But when he does vote, he votes as conservative when he knows he's going to lose anyway. Darrell Issa, along with Pete Wilson and Mitt Romney, completely hijacked our gubernatorial election back in 2012 when they chose Neil Hashkari over Tim Donnelly. And they did it in 2 weeks. Tim Donnelly had a 23-point lead on Hashkari. 2 weeks before that, Issa comes out, Romney comes out, Pete Wilson comes out, they endorse Hashkari, and he ends up winning the election by 3 points. So I'm saying, here's a guy that is an establishment operative, and you're going to vote for him as a conservative? And that is an example of what I'm talking about.
So, but I'm guessing that when you created that controversy, they took your name off the nomination.
I'm sorry?
I'm guessing that when you created that controversy with the board, they took your name off the nomination.
No. He actually said that's why we're looking at you to run the show is because nobody's doing the job here. That they're changing their entire leadership because some of the people that set up the party originally back in 2008, and they kind of over the last few years have kind of stepped aside because they have other things to do and they put other people in charge. Those people are not doing their job, so these people have stepped back in and said, "Okay, we're gonna revamp this thing. We're gonna rework it from the top down." So because it is a very legitimate party, they have an outstanding platform. The infrastructure of the party is excellent. They just put some of the wrong people in charge of it. Because why? They're fellow Republicans, fellow conservatives. They'll do their job.
Yeah.
And they're not doing their job. So, there it is. But, that's where we're at here. The reason that you asked the question, how did we get here? We got here because we have allowed it to come to this point. And that's what we have to do. We've got to... I hope Trump wins. We can stop the bleeding and maybe get this thing back on the right track. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out, though. So,
he's got such a narrow pathway to the White House already, and if you have all this graft going on, it's like the deck is stacked against him.
Well, at this point in time, one thing we know for sure, whether Donald Trump wins or loses tonight, the Republican Party, for all intents and purposes, is dead.
Yeah.
And so now it's going to be what happens to the party itself. And we'll see. The establishment's going to go into overdrive. They've lost. They've been exposed for who they are. I don't know how. I don't expect them to do a whole lot to help Hillary just because they need to protect their own butts right now. So, maybe, as I said earlier, maybe it's best for us that we have a Congress that does absolutely nothing. and listen, okay? Because everything they're going to touch is going to turn, to crap. So, we'll see. And we'll see how it's going to play out.
Well, tomorrow, you know what? I think we're going to know. By 8:30 tonight, California time. I think we're going to have a pretty good idea who the next president's going to be. And if it is a walk away vote, then based on everything you're telling me, I'm just going to be furious.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't expect it to. My gut check tells me, and I could be completely wrong on this. This could be total bias on my part. My gut check tells me that there's a lot of people out there going to vote for Trump that haven't said they're going to vote for Trump. And I'm hoping that's what.
Yeah, I'm thinking that way too, John.
I agree with that. I feel exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that's right.
All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour here, so I've got to cut you loose here. I've got two more people coming on.
Hey, John, thanks so much. I really enjoyed this. This has been a good half hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sean, you didn't get more airtime.
That's all right. I even told Robert in the beginning, I said, I'm going to be a spectator for the first half hour, and that's pretty much how it turned out. But John, I enjoyed having you on. It was good. It was good hearing all this. And so it's stuff that I'm not really attuned to, so it's good to hear it.
Okay, John. Hey,
all right.
Have a good one, buddy. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. You take care.
All right. Now, for the rest of you, whoops. Okay, for the rest of you folks, stick around. We're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll be with my good buddy Sean Lefebvre at the Geared for Wellness Corner. We may continue talking about politics. We may be talking about healthcare. We could be talking about the girl next door. God only knows. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:04 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 93 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in the heartland of this country, Wichita, Kansas, well, it's 60 degrees and it's clear. You know, it's the only thing that's clear, because I think Sean is still clearing his throat. I don't know what's going on over there. Anyway, in Lisbon, Portugal, it's 54 degrees and partly cloudy. And we're on the air with our own Sean Lefebvre. How you doing, buddy? Are you okay?
I'm still trying to catch up with the last conversation.
Oh, there's all kinds of racket coming over the thing. Anyway, you know what?
You getting racket? You getting background racket from me?
Yeah.
Really? I don't know what that could be. I'm sitting inside of a quiet car.
I don't have a clue then. You know what? Must be, maybe it's something, maybe it's on this side. You know what? I don't know. I don't care. It's all right. You know, the truth is, how do you feel? I mean, you know, John is talking about all this stuff, and I got to be honest with you. I take a lot of this with a grain of salt, because, you know, he is such a staunch conservative, and I'm kind of a middle of the road kind of guy, and I don't necessarily see bad in everything that's going on. However, when I start hearing about voter machines that are, you know, if I'm voting for Trump and it's putting up Hillary, and if I'm hearing about absentee ballots that are being punched in by somebody else, and when I'm hearing that my good friend goes down to the polls and they're playing games with him and his vote's not even going to get counted, I got smoke coming out of my ears right now. How do you feel about this whole thing? And what alternatives does this country have? I mean, the truth is, if these things are truly happening, Sean, then somebody's got to do something. And what does that mean about the election? Is it voided and we start all over again? What's going on here?
Yeah, you know, I mean, like I said, you know, just a few minutes ago, I don't think anybody's going to do anything about it if this, in fact, really is happening. And like John said, you know, if they're already suing, you know, Nevada for leaving the polls open, regardless of whether people get upset about it or not, you know, there's still a law and it still needs to be upheld. And of course, people are selfish and they don't care. But you know, the fact is, you know, as they say, there hasn't been voter fraud in this country since Bernie Sanders ran for president. And, you know, we saw it. It was bold. It was obvious. We proved it. There's no doubt about it. She cheated, manipulated the system. She lied. Ballots were manipulated, on and on and on. And Bernie Sanders should very well have won. You know, whether he would have truly won or not, there's a lot of people who say, well, he wouldn't have won anyway. It doesn't matter if he would have won anyway. Fact is, the Democratic Party rigged the system against Bernie Sanders. They cheated. to get him out of the system. And nobody has done this. In my opinion, she should not be eligible to run on the presidential platform after that.
And I agree with you. I agree with you.
And if they haven't done anything about something that we know 100% they've been able to prove, then who's to say there? You know, I look at it this way. And in fact, I was having this conversation with Sally just a little bit ago. I said, you know what? After this, I don't think I'm going to ever vote. I don't even know if I even want to register as a voter again. I don't know that my vote matters. And I don't know that it's worth taking the chance of getting, called up to do jury duty. You know, I don't want to do jury duty. So, you know, why register to vote? I don't believe my vote matters. I honestly, truly at this point don't believe my vote matters. And I think that that's the big issue here is, you know, we, the American people, it's not a matter of, you know, is it rigged? I believe it's rigged. Yeah, absolutely. In some level, you know, whether it's the machines were malfunctioning or whether George Soros was behind it and made it happen or whatever the case might be, you know, it's rigged at some level. I don't know what that level is, but I do believe that it's rigged. And I do believe that even if they can prove it, that if Hillary wins, that nothing will be done about it.
Because you know why? Because she's above the law. None of the rules and none of the laws that apply to us apply to her.
Yeah, and I'm just really kind of just disgruntled in the whole thing, and I just don't know that it's I'm willing to accept whatever comes out of this, and you know, this is the way I look at it. And I was really giving this a lot of thought here recently, and I thought, you know what, Stalin was a horrible leader, you know. And it's funny how everyone gets on Facebook and they compare, you know, Trump to Hitler and they compare Hillary Clinton to Hitler and on and on. And I'm thinking, how come nobody compares anybody to Stalin? Because he was probably worse than Hitler, you know. But Stalin was he killed 50 million, somewhere between 30 to 50 million of his own people, and he is still revered, especially in the older generation, as one of the greatest leaders that country has ever known. So when you break it down, you know, Russian or Soviets, you know, Russians, whatever, are no different than Americans at heart. People are people. There's not a lot of difference. And if they're willing to look back at a man who murdered tens of millions of people and still look at him and go, you know, he was a great leader, then Hillary Clinton is nothing compared to him. You know, so, you know, the way I look at it is, you know what, the Soviet Union has recovered from that era of time. You know, it's still a very poor country. It's still what I would call a second world country. I know it's considered one of the major powers in the world still, but if you walk around, it doesn't look like the United States. They don't have, you know, they've got some really nice areas. They've got some beautiful areas, some great development, but they've also got a lot of people that are living in second and third world conditions out there because of communism. So, you know, and obviously we're not going all full into communism, even with someone as horrible as Hillary Clinton. But I do believe that, you know, no matter what happens, you know, the country's going to recover from this. We've still got people like Jason Chaffetz, and we've still got Trey Gowdy, and we've still got, you know, some really good, even on the Democrat side, there's some good politicians. You know, we've still got good politicians in the House of Representatives, and so, you know, I think this country is going to be all right. But I am personally just disgruntled with the whole process, and I think that I've been disillusioned for a long time to believe that the system really is run by. I don't think it's run by the people anymore.
Hey, you know what? That's an understatement. You know what? I'm not sure who runs it, but I know it's not the people that are running it. I'm not sure if it's the media or if it's the politicians.
I would go more with the media. I was at, you know, I had some time to kill today, and I stopped in Barnes and Noble just to sit and do a little reading and kind of get on my phone and browse through the internet a little bit. And, you know, and I walked by I like magazines. I've always enjoyed holding a magazine in my hand and reading it. Mm-hmm. And so I went and I looked, and, you know, and of course there's Time magazine, and there's The Economist, which I used to think was a good magazine. Now I think is just a horrible propaganda liberal magazine. And, you know, and they're just all doom and gloom. They're either anti-Trump or they're just both people suck. There's no positive spin on anything. And really the media has just driven this environment of fear into the American people that no matter what happens, we're doomed. And I really don't think that we're doomed no matter who wins, even if Hillary Clinton wins. As much as I despise her and I think that she's a criminal, I don't think that we're doomed. I think that we're going to go down a path that I won't personally like. But I think will be more damaging than good. But we can always recover from it.
But you know what? Here's the thing: when you start thinking about it, if Hillary does not win, if Donald Trump wins, then Barack Obama's legacy that he's created over the last 8 years is gone. It's just going to flat out be gone, right? So, and which is why you see Obama campaigning so hard for Hillary. If Hillary wins, then Obama's legacy is intact. So all of a sudden now you have this entire Democrat machine that, whether it be honest or dishonest, right or wrong, no matter what's going to happen, they're jumping in to manipulate this entire election to make it go their way instead of the way the people are wanting it to go. And it's all about a legacy for Obama.
Right, exactly, and that's what scares me. I saw a video that someone posted on Facebook, and it was posted by some young woman that went to vote with her mom, and her mom was sitting in the driver's seat crying, right? Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Mom, why are you crying?" She goes, "Because for the first time ever, I got to vote for a woman for president." And I'm going, this is not the first time, first of all, that a woman was ever on the ballot.
That's true. That's true. Ferraro.
So this woman was at least my age. So she's had plenty of opportunities to vote for a woman before. Yeah. And so for her to say that it means that she's completely ignorant of the past. Yeah. But the second part is, you voted for her just because she's a woman. That's a horrible sexist reason to vote for her. That's like me voting for Trump.
I actually had this conversation with Marlene last night. We were watching, I forget what we were watching, and they were saying something about the first woman to run for president. And I said, you know what? What a sad epitaph for this country that you would vote for her regardless of whether she is competent or not. But because she's a woman, that's not why you vote for her. If you're going to vote for her, you vote for her because she's qualified, she's the best person for the office, and she just happens to be a woman. That's not the reason you vote for her.
Right. You don't vote for a woman, just the same reason you don't vote for Barack Obama, because he's black.
Yeah.
Or half black.
That's right.
I like to say.
That's right.
But the fact is, and people make decisions based on emotion. That's not a big shock. But the emotions are so powerful and so overwhelming over the last 8 years. When Barack Obama won, people wept tears of joy all over the country because we had our first black president. Not because we had a man who was qualified to run the president. People didn't cry like they did when Clinton was elected, or the Bushes, or Reagan, or Jimmy Carter, or any of that. They were happy. And there was probably, I'm sure, some people close to the camp, maybe who worked to make it happen. I'm sure they were crying because they won, but they were part of the team. But for just millions of people to just weep openly and just be so emotional about a decision that really should be made on logic is ridiculous. If you're crying because a woman gets elected, or you're crying because a black person gets elected, you're crying for the wrong reasons. You should be crying because the best thing just happened for our country.
Yes.
And that's not what this has been about over the last 8 years. It's been about the first black president, and the first black president getting reelected, and now the first woman. And that should not be the ticket. All these people who are going, first woman, they all hate Sarah Palin.
Yeah.
If it was Sarah Palin, they'd be like, "Oh no, she's a horrible person." But why not? She's a woman, So
remember that Sarah Palin was not the first person on the ballot either. Geraldine Ferraro was the first woman who was tagged as a vice president for Herbert Humphrey way back. And so, there have been women that have been on the tickets, not on the presidential side, I don't think. But
there have been female. She's not the first woman to ever get nominated for president of the United States. To run for as she's the first woman to be nominated for a major ticket, Democrat or Republican. Yeah. But there have been independents and other different parties throughout. For like 100 years.
Yeah.
There have been. In fact, I think the last election there was a female president that you could have voted for who was on some obscure party. I can't remember what party. It wasn't like independent. It was something. I can't remember what it was. But you could have voted for a female president 4 years ago, had you chosen to do so.
Well, but the only reason you would do it is because you thought that individual was more qualified than anyone else that was running.
Right. Yeah, and that's the reason it should be done.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you something else that just irks me. We got to go on a break, but just irks me to no end, and it has to do with Obama. Now, I understand that you don't like Obama. I'm not crazy about Obama. All these things that are going on, but I'll tell you what: the biggest travesty that I've ever seen was the obstructionist views of the United States Congress. I'm talking about the Senate and the House. You know what? This guy, whether you like him or you don't like him, he wasn't even given an honest chance. These guys weren't going to give him anything that he didn't push through on executive order. They didn't give him the same courtesy they give every other president. Had he wanted to do something and like Obamacare and it was wrong, okay, he was wrong, and that'll be the thing that scuttles him. But the fact that they sit there, 500 members of Congress, and we elect them and pay them damn near $250,000 a year to sit on their fat asses and do nothing, there's something wrong with that. Now, we'll talk about that, Sean, when we come back from this break. We'll be right back with Sean LaFave in the Gear for Wellness Corner.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? The first results are starting to come in right now. It's currently 4:22 p.m. Here on the West Coast, and it's 7:22 p.m. on the East Coast, and the count has already begun. Trump takes Indiana, Kentucky, and Clinton takes Vermont. It's already projected that within the next hour or so that Trump is going to wind up with Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, and South Carolina, while Vermont is going to be in the Clinton thing. So we're starting to get our first information here, Sean. But when I left you with a comment about how I felt about Congress, and I was wondering what your feelings were on that.
Well, I do agree with you that they did not cooperate the way that it would be nice to see if they should have. The thing that I don't know this, we all, wonder what is a person's motives. And I don't have a crystal ball. I can't read anybody's mind, certainly not a politician's mind. But the part that really takes me, it just sets me back here on this whole thing is what I hear from many people on the left is the reason why the right isn't playing nice is because he's black and that they're all a bunch of racists. And so when I hear that as the main war cry against the Republican Party, it completely shuts me down. And I go, you know what? I fail to believe that the majority of the Republicans are so racist that they won't even work with the president of the United States just because he's a black man.
Well,
I would like to know why do you think that they're not cooperating? Why do you think they're not?
Yeah, I don't.
Well with them?
Because of the leadership, I don't want to believe that either. But the real power in the Congress comes from the southern states, and when you think about it, the day that President Barack Obama got elected, Mitch McConnell said, we're going to make him a one-term president. We're not going to pass anything he wants to have happen. We're not going to pass any laws that he wants to put his name on or have there. So he was already had prejudice against him, whether he's be black, purple, I don't care what color. They were going to make they were already biased against him at that juncture. He hadn't even begun to try to do a good job yet.
Right. And
how is any president, even if Donald Trump were to be elected tonight, and let's hope that that's what happens. The truth is, he's got a large majority of Republican people that don't like him, that are going to be just as obstructionist against him as they were against the Democrats. And in this case, it'll be both Democrats and Republicans against him.
Yeah, and I've said that about both Trump and Hillary Clinton, is that we're not going to get it. We're going to have another 4 years of nothing good coming out of this, except executive orders. If that's the case, I was actually optimistic when Barack Obama was elected the first round. Mm-hmm. I actually believed he was going to do something good. He said, repeatedly that he would be the one to bring the two sides together in harmony, and I actually believed that he was capable of doing that.
Yeah, I don't think he even made. I don't think he even made that attempt. My honest feeling is the Congress was against him, and he was against the Congress. Never the twain was going to meet. I don't think that he was ever reaching across the aisle. I don't even think he was reaching to his own people. He was trying to be a monarchy. He was trying to be the last word. And you know what? I think that was just his lack of experience at that time. I think after 8 years, he's become more experienced, but too late, huh?
And that's kind of the point I was making was I don't think that he extended, as they say, the olive branch, out enough in order to bring that unity. I think he could have, but I don't think that he was willing to do. He wasn't willing to be the first person to step in the ring and go, okay, let's come together. He when they pushed, he just pushed right back instead of going, okay, guys, how do we fix this? And I think that he failed. I think he failed miserably. Did the Republicans play nice? No, they didn't play nice. But that's just politics. There's a reason why we have a left and a right. They're gonna, especially in the beginning. They're gonna push each other, and somebody's got to be the first person to go. Okay, come on, let's Like, I get it. What do you want? Tell me what you want.
Well, the perfect example. The perfect example is St. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan had Tip O'Neill as his adversary, but they got a lot done during the Reagan years. You start thinking about the things that got accomplished during the Reagan years. There was, we were in a recession that he pulled us out of during that time. A lot of people aren't even aware of it. And Reagan was the first guy to put women into high executive positions in the government. He was the first guy to be doing that, and he was the first guy to try and change the laws to make them unisex laws instead of the laws reading so that they favored just men. He was really progressive and stepped on a lot of toes. And you know what? When he saw something that was good, he was willing to make concessions to get it passed. And that's why him and Tip O'Neill really hit it off. We got a lot done under Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill, as opposed to what was going on with Gingrich and Clinton. There was a lot happened during Clinton too, but that was a more of an impasse between those two.
And I know that, and I believe that if Clinton is elected, that we're going to get nothing done over the next 4 years. That I just don't see her as the kind. She's not going to unify this country at all. She will create more division, and that's my biggest problem with her. Yeah, she's a criminal, she's a cheat, she's a liar, all that. But the one thing that really matters to me the most is I wanted someone who could bring our country together. Do I believe that Trump can do that? Not the way I would like to see it done, but I do believe that Trump, as he's known for more than anything else, like he said in his book, The Art of the Deal, he is a negotiator.
Yeah.
And he will make sure that if you want something, he'll show you how to get it as long as he can have what he wants to.
Sean, there's a reason that every country that's out there is opposed to Trump taking over. You know why they're opposed to it? Because their free ride is going to be over. They're going to have a whole new respect for this country, because we're not going to let them walk on us anymore. We're not going to be their bank anymore. We're not going to be their security blanket anymore if they don't pay their fair share. And that's all baloney. But you know what? None of that changes if Hillary gets in.
Oh, no, of course not. We're still going to take care of the Middle East. We're still going to take care of Germany. We're still going to take care of Japan. We're still going to take care of South Korea. We're going to spend trillions of dollars protecting the rest of the world and getting nothing in return.
And the thing is, we should protect those countries, but we shouldn't have to pay for the privilege.
Right, but exactly. You and I shouldn't have to pay out our taxes to protect Japan. Japan is in the situation they're in. They still are not allowed to produce, attack, or have or own attack military vehicles and aircraft.
Yeah, they're not allowed to have their own army.
Right, exactly, and that's because of what they did in World War II.
Yeah.
That's their own fault. The sanctions were brought on them, or whatever you want to call it, the restrictions were brought on them because of their history. Is it time to maybe change those? Maybe. Well,
what? We changed Cuba. It's been 50 years. We changed Cuba, right? Well, here's the thing with Japan. You can still watch them. You can still see what the heck's going on. But you know what? Japan had to celebrate when they found out, hey, we don't have to pay for our own army. The United States is going to have to protect us.
Right, exactly. Yeah. When people say that American men and women are out dying for this country, they're out dying for a whole lot of countries.
Yeah.
Not just this one.
Yeah.
We're fighting these wars because sure, we had people attack the United States, but we're fighting these wars because all these other countries don't have the military to join in and fight with us, because we built up this empire of military might so that we can protect the rest of the world. And he's right. I totally agree with him. They can pitch in. They can at least help defray the cost of that.
Some of the richest countries in the world are over there not participating.
Yeah. Saudi Arabia has, why are they not over there fighting? If they're our friends, they're our allies, which they are not. I believe they're our allies as long as they're getting what they want.
Absolutely.
But do they like us? No, they don't like us. They would probably just as soon watch us. The suspicion is, and the links seem to be there, that Saudi Arabia was involved with the 9/11 attacks.
Yeah.
It's not a big shocker. If they came out and proved it, there's not a lot of people who go, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming. Of course, it's, they were involved in that. They're one of the largest supporters of terrorism in the world. And they're one of the largest supporters of Hillary Clinton. Go figure, So, like you said, Hillary gets voted, nothing's going to change. At least with Trump in, And that's the thing about Trump. People said, we want an outsider. We want someone who's not part of the established, someone who's not a party line guy. And as soon as someone stood up, everyone went, wait a minute. Maybe I don't want that. It's different. I'm not used to that. And so now everyone's afraid of him. But, and so they call him a racist. And he's not a racist. He's been in the limelight for 30 plus years, and he's never been once called a racist until last year. Yeah, sure, he's had some bouts with Rosie O'Donnell and some other women, and yeah, he called a woman a pig. Oh my gosh, like what man hasn't done that? And that was a business decision for him anyway. This woman was a representative of the organization that he owned, and she wasn't holding up her end of the bargain. So he said, yeah, she's eating like a pig. Well, yeah, she was eating like a pig. Maybe, that's not even the point. The point is, he said some things that many people have said. I've heard women say worse things than that.
Yeah, but you know what? Let's be honest about this. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you're gruff and rough and you have to be crude and crass. You should be a gentleman, and that wasn't the way to talk to her. The truth is he didn't have to make that public either. If she was going to be an embarrassment as Miss Universe, then she should have been replaced, and the second banana should have taken over. That's all. Right. That's all. You just can't treat. Forget about women. You can't treat human beings that way. You shouldn't be, just the fact that he's a billionaire doesn't mean that he's above being genteel, being honest, being, somebody who's
right. And I agree with you. It would be great to think that we all treated each other with respect and love and adoration all the time, regardless of the adversity we're going through. But he doesn't treat men any different than he treats women.
Oh, that's
if
true.
a man does something stupid, he's going to come out and call him out for it. Yeah. The problem is because it's another man, nobody cares.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, but it doesn't change the fault, does it?
It doesn't change the fault, but it doesn't mean that he's doing it because she's a woman. And that's the point that people are saying. They're saying, look, he called her a pig because she's a woman, because he's a misogynist. No, he said it because that's the way he treats people.
Yeah.
That's the way he treats everybody. He would say the same thing about a man. If he owned the Mr. Universe competition, and the guy, or whatever, Mr. America, and this guy lost, stepped outside of his requirements as part of his contract, he would be just as harsh towards the man. But because he said it about a woman, they want to make him a misogynist. He's not a misogynist. He's just a guy who's abrasive and blunt and upfront and says what's on his mind.
And god awful stupid, that a man at his stature and his success and his education doesn't realize that kind of verbalizing his feelings is counterproductive to what it is he wants to attain.
Sure. Yeah. Well, it's worked for him. That's the unfortunate part. Is he doesn't have to realize it because it's worked for him.
Yeah.
And that's people let it slide.
Yeah. Well, what? If you're in construction and you're in real estate and you're dealing with guys in hammers and hard hats and you're talking the same way they talk, that's one thing. And that's just the way that they talk, and I understand that. But you know what? When you're running for president of the United States, the most powerful, revered office in the world, then I think you should be able to taper off and have respect for other people and that office, if not for yourself.
But the vast majority of the comments that are being used against.
Having said that, I voted for Donald Trump.
I did too, and I'll tell you why I voted for him. And I support Donald Trump. I didn't vote for him because he's the lesser of two evils. I voted for him because I believe what he stands for. And for me, of course, I'm in the healthcare world, and for me, it's a matter of he wants to repeal Obamacare. I hate Obamacare. Yeah. It's a travesty. It's failed. It's miserably. It's nosediving right now. It's going to just drive right into the dirt.
Took 135% increase on the renewals this year.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's ridiculous. It is an absolute failure. And Donald Trump is the only person who's out there going, you know what, look, these autism rates in our country are skyrocketing and nobody's doing anything about it. And maybe it's the vaccines. Maybe it's just that we give too many of them too soon or too many at one time. Maybe we need to figure out a different way to do this. And he's going, look, the autism rates, my son's children, that generation, my grandchildren's generation, if the trends continue, it's going to be at least 1 in 2, somewhere between 1 in 2 to 1 in 4 kids are going to be on the autism spectrum. Imagine what that's going to do to our country. And the only person out of all of the candidates who has said this is an issue that we really need to figure out a solution to is Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, she's in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. She loves Monsanto. She's pro-GMO. all these things, and so when I voted today, I didn't vote for Trump because he was the lesser of two evils, which is what the media makes me feel like I'm supposed to be doing. I voted for him because I believe in what he stands for.
Well, now, here's the thing. Sean, here's the thing. I voted for him because I believe in his message. I believe in what he's saying. I don't necessarily know that I support the way he wants to do these things, but I do support the things that he wants to do. On the other hand, I do believe that both candidates are evil, and he is the lesser of two evils. He just happens to be the guy whose policies I support.
Yeah, sure. And I know that a lot of people believe. I just don't personally believe that he's that evil. I believe he's got a lot of flaws, but everybody has flaws.
Well, you know what they say about the guy to throw the first stone, right?
Right, and that's exactly it. It's I'm not going to be the one to throw that stone because I probably have more flaws. I've probably done more horrible things. If I had billions of dollars, I'd probably be a worse person than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So I
got
can't.
30 seconds, pal.
So anyway, I just hope that, regardless, I hope that people get out and vote, and what I'd like to see is I just hope that people realize no matter who wins, even if it doesn't matter who wins, the country's going to be fine. We can recover. We recover from all kinds.
Now you hit the nail on the head. The truth is,
that's what I wish. That's the message that I wish was being portrayed by the media. That's not. Is we're going to be just fine regardless.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You hit the nail right on the head. The truth is, half the country doesn't like either one of these candidates. 70% of the country doesn't like either one of these candidates. But the truth is, regardless who actually does get into the White House, we are going to be fine. We're a very strong country. We've got a system of government that's going to protect the people. So you're right. Hey, my friend, you go out and have a great day. I'm sorry your show got so cut up today, but we'll make up for it on Thursday.
We definitely will, Robert. Had a fantastic time today. I learned a lot from John, and I look forward to talking to you again on Thursday. You have a fantastic rest of the day.
All right, my friend. Take care. Now, the rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back, we're going to be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We've got a lot of good show for you. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:42 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 93 degrees on its way down to 55 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in London, England, well, it's 41 degrees and it's raining right now. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it's 30 degrees and it's clear. But you know what? Right now, what I want to talk to you about is the Harvard Business Tip of the day. And the management tip today is 2 ways to leave work stress behind. You know, after a long day, it can be a struggle to leave work behind you. You often, too often actually, we take out the job-related stress on our friends, children, and our partners. Here are 2 ways to make sure that your work troubles stay at the office. First of all, have an end-of-work habit. Signal your brain that it's time to go home with a ritual that helps you unwind. Take a more scenic route home, listen to music on the bus, or go to a gym. Make time for this habit so that you can switch gears before you actually get home, not as you're walking in that front door. And create a third space. It's easy to just shuttle back and forth physically and emotionally between work and home, but having a third space besides these 2 locations will help you decompress. It might be anything from a quiet cafe to a book club to a poker night. It should be a place where you explore your interests, relax, and ideally find fulfillment. That's good. That's a good tip for not just your business life, but your personal life as well. Well, you know what? It's time for our secret daily teaching for your life. It's all about a positive mental attitude. You really do control what's going to go on in your life and your body. You decide if you're going to be rich or poor, or happy or sad, or a success or failure. You decide that every morning when you get up. You look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a fantastic, productive, profitable day today. And I'm going to make everybody around me happy and glad that they are. Well, you know what? The tip for today is 99% of who you are is invisible and untouchable. Give that some thought the next time you're running around, and know that you are in control of everything. Well, you know what today is. Everybody knows what today is, or most everybody should know. It's Tuesday. It's November the 8th, and it is somebody's birthday. And you know what? Here's somebody who was born in 1947, passed away in 1979, a singer best known for her vocal range of more than 5 octaves, and her 1975 single, Lovin' You. Happy birthday, Minnie Riverton. And born in 1949, a singer who's also an avid political activist and has received 9 Grammy Awards in her career. Happy birthday, Bonnie Raitt. It's also the birthday of Ricky Lee Jones. You know what? You ever wonder what was going on today in history? Well, I'm going to tell you, so you might as well just sit down and relax. On November the 8th, 1889, Montana, Big Sky Country, is admitted as the 41st United States. And in 1895, while experimenting with electricity, Wilhelm Röntgen discovers the X-ray. Boy, what we have done without that. And on November the 8th, 1966, former Massachusetts Attorney General Edward Brooke becomes the very first African-American elected to the United States Senate. Not that long ago, if you think about it, right? Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from a man who I am just a tremendous fan of. He's not with us anymore, but it's from George Carlin. And George says, "There's no present. There's only the immediate future and the recent past." Boy, isn't that profound? Absolutely is. You know what? It's time for me to talk to you about some interesting but useless facts. And we've got a number of them, so we might as well just get right to them. Did you know that the state flower of Texas is the bluebonnet? The state tree is a pecan. Isn't that interesting? No, not really. How about this? Do you know Pinocchio is Italian for pine eye? Yeah, that's it. You know what? It's interesting. How about this one? Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, and Jimmy Page were all once the lead guitarist for the English band, the Yardbirds, in the 1960s. That's kind of interesting. How about this? A person's nose and ears continue to grow throughout his or her life. Yeah, that's actually a fact. I know that to be a fact. I'll tell you something else. When you get older, you can grow hair everywhere except on the top of your head. I grow it in my nose. I grow it in my ears. I grow it everywhere except where I want it to grow. Try this one on. Did you know that there are more plastic lawn flamingos in the United States than there are real ones? Now that is saying something. Try this on for size. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest. The Arctic Ocean is the world's smallest ocean. It is mostly covered by solid ice flows, and icebergs. And let's see here. How about this? Do you know the palms of the hands and soles of the feet contain more sweat glands than any other part of your body? That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I seem to sweat everywhere when I sweat. Did you know that a phonophobe fears noise? Yeah, who cares? Well, let me leave you with this one. A doubleheader, which refers to two baseball games played back-to-back, was originally a railroad term that referred to two engines in a switching yard hooked up back-to-back on a single train. The train could also be called a two-header. Yeah, and now you've got that. Well, you know what? I just got to leave you this one last one. 85% of men do not use the slit in their underwear. Now, I'm not going to expand on that, but just think about it for a while. In the meantime, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:53 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 91 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, well, you know what? It's 51 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 66 degrees in scattered clouds. But right now, it's time for us to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Yes, sir. You know what? Paul Harvey, was just a magnificent guy. The American Broadcasting Company calls him the biggest voice in America. He's Paul Harvey, and each week, millions of listeners and viewers and readers were awaiting his unraveling of the mysteries and the events and the lives of the people, past and present. He was heard on over 1,400 radio stations and seen on 110 television stations, and he was read in over 300 newspapers. Now, the rest of the story has for years been exploring the byways of history with revelations that are intriguing, amusing, and surprising. Well, you know what? Today's story from Paul is Warner's number one. You know what? He was a big name in silent film, starred in nearly 40, and if he enjoyed more so-called star treatment than others in his studio, you'll understand why. Only minor hardships accompanied his special celebrity. Boring premieres, long promotional tours, hospital visits, openings. But the other side of the coin was shiny. While other cast members had to work in sometimes miserable weather, his studio contract provided for a stand-in. While his co-stars were largely neglected and underpaid, he was given all consideration and was making a fortune. As one might expect, the sense of this preferential regard was measured in dollars and cents. During the silent era, he was Warner Brothers' biggest star. He was the mainstay of the studio's financial structure. On several occasions when it seemed Warner's might go under, the box office gross of this one performer brought in sufficient revenue to pay other losses. Losses on such film as those starring John Barrymore. In motion picture plots, this hero always saved the day. In real life, he did that too. Here's a storyline for you. Old-time mining town, lots of rough characters. Our hero, in order to pass through town, unnoticed is wearing a false beard. Predictably, the beard falls off. Our hero is recognized, and at once, he is fleeing an angry lynch mob. Stale as it sounds, this was the sort of bread and butter silent movie plot that kept Warner Brothers books in the Black. You know what? The star of that particular movie served as a cornerstone for more than 3 dozen others just like it. He was Warner's top star in 1926. He superseded Chaplin and Valentino and Fairbanks in the polls. In that post-Oscar era, he was voted most popular film performer of the year. Did public relations people have private problems with this celebrity? Press releases made him out to be everything nice and kind and considerate, good to his mother, fond of children, and all that. Actually, Warner's number 1 was the most temperamental star in Hollywood. His scraps with upstagers, minor cast members, and well-meaning directors were legendary within the industry. He never drank, but seemed to achieve the same raucous result without drinking. Yes, yet any indiscretion was promptly forgiven. For this was the star who more than once saved Warner Brothers, the performer whose personal box office popularity bailed him out when others were losing money. At the height of his popularity, he received 12,000 fan letters a week. He even had Daryl F. Zanuck for a scriptwriter. Warner's number 1, the temperamental star who won the hearts of a nation, the most popular matinee idol of 1926, the performer who kept Warner Brothers in the black, carrying the studio safely into the age of the talkies, was himself unable to talk. He was a German shepherd named Rin Tin Tin. And the false beard? They were attempting to disguise him as a wolf. And now you know the rest of the story. Yeah. Well, you know what? On my next show, I'm going to be talking about how to profit from selling your life insurance, and I'm going to be answering all your emails. Now, Joel Saltzman on Dr. Wireless is going to be here. He'll be talking about new wireless technology news, and then I'll contribute our tribute to the great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. I want you to tell all your friends about our show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. You know, you'll be glad you did. They'll be glad you did, and I will certainly will be glad you did too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.